Today we will be going over Lesson 6 in Booklet 12, that is lots of simplifying and solving. There's really nothing new to teach you in this lesson. We're just upping it up to the final level of difficulty when it comes to our algebra and our simplification techniques. So we can jump right into the first problem. Here we have 3v minus 4v plus 2 equals 9 minus 5 minus 3v. Now there's a lot of terms here. We have 3 on each side. And before we start moving things around, you should take a second and see what you can simplify. So when I say simplify, I specifically mean, in this context, collecting like terms. On the left-hand side of the equal sign, we have a 3v and a negative 4v. Those are like terms. And on the right-hand side of the equal sign, we have a 9 minus 5. We can combine those as well. So 3v minus 4v, because those are like terms, 3 minus 4 is negative 1, and the variable v stays the same. And then that plus 2 just carries down. So this negative 1v came from the 3 minus 4v, and this plus 2 just came from there. On the right-hand side of the equal sign, we have 9 minus 5, which is equal to 4, and the minus 3v just hangs out. So that came from there, and the 9 minus 5 made the 4. So hopefully that makes sense on how we have simplified. Now that we are done simplifying, we can start to move everything with a variable to the left-hand side, and every term without a variable to the right-hand side. So my first step is going to be dealing with this negative 3v. I want to move that over to the left, so I'm going to use opposite operations. I am going to add 3v to the right-hand side, but in doing so, I also have to add 3v to the left-hand side. So that and that are going to cancel out. And what I'm left with is negative 1v plus 2 plus 3v is equal to 4. Good. So it's great that I have brought the 3v to the left-hand side, but I have a term here on the left, 2, which doesn't have a variable. And I need to bring that over to the right-hand side. So what I'm going to do is, again, opposite operations. I'm going to subtract 2 from the left-hand side, but I'm also going to subtract 2 from the right-hand side. And I am going to get that negative 1v. Now these 2's are going to cancel out. That's the whole point, right? So negative 1v plus 3v is equal to 4 minus 2. So now that I have all of my terms with v on the left and all of my terms without a variable on the right, I can again collect like terms. So on the left, negative 1v plus 3v, negative 1 plus 3 is equal to 2. So this is 2v, and 2v is equal to 4 minus 2, which is equal to 2. The last step is to isolate for v. So I need to get rid of this 2. The 2 is attached to the variable through multiplication, and the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide the left and divide the right-hand side by 2. So those are going to cancel out, and I'm left with v equals 1. And I'm done, right? We've come a long way in order to take this crazy statement and simplify it to the point where we can say that the variable v must equal 1 in order for this to be true. Let's try another example. Now, Try these ones on your own. Make sure that your answers match mine. And I do give you space, so you can include a check of your answer. And I'll try to leave space on my own screen to do that as well. So the first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to collect like terms. That means that we're collecting the 10 and the -1 on the left. That means that we're going to collect the 4m plus 2m on the right. So 10 minus 1 is 9. And then this 3m is just going to stay exactly like it is. We have nothing to combine that with. On the right-hand side, 4m plus 2m is 6m. 4 plus 2 is 6, and the variable stays the same. And that that term, minus 3, is just going to carry down. Okay, so these two purples became 9. These two purples became 6m. And then our blues just carry down, right? Let's clean this up a little bit. Okay, now next we need to move everything with a variable to the left-hand side, everything without a variable to the right-hand side. So this 6m, that has a variable. Let's take it, let's move it over to the left. That means using opposite operations. In order to get rid of the 6m, I need to subtract 6m. And if I'm doing that to the right, I have to do that to the left. And then 6m minus 6m is 0, so that's going to cancel out, leaving me with 9 plus 3m minus 6m is equal to -3. Good. Now we need to move everything without a variable to the right-hand side. That's this 9 right here. That needs to move over. So we use opposite operations. I'm going to subtract 9 from the left. I'm going to subtract 9 from the right. And I'm going to be left with, because this and this are going to cancel out, right? I'm going to be left with 3m minus 6m is equal to -3 minus 9. Good. So now we have all of our terms with a variable on the left and all of our terms without a variable on the right. So I can say that 3m minus 6m is equal to 3 minus 6 is -3, and then the variable stays the same. And that is equal to -3 minus 9, which is -12. We're almost there. The last step is to get rid of this -3. Now it's attached to the variable through multiplication, so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to divide the left hand by 3, but -3, sorry, but also divide the right hand side by -3 to give me, these guys are going to cancel out. So I just have m on the left hand side, which is equal to -12 divided by -3. Well, 12 divided by 3 is 4, and two negatives make a positive. So the answer should be +4. Good. Now, this was a pretty complicated question, so it's worth checking our answer, right? Because it's hard to visualize. If I plug in 4 for m, will it work out? So let's make sure that we check. Now, our original statement was 10 plus 3m minus 1 equals 4m minus 3 plus 2m. And I'm going to rewrite that, but everywhere that I see an m, I'm going to write 4 instead, because in theory, we think that m equals 4 is the solution, is the answer that will make the left-hand side equal the right-hand side. So let's do the multiplication first. So that means this multiplication right here, this multiplication right here, this multiplication right here. We're going to do that all in one step, okay? So that means that I have 10 plus 3 times 4, which is 12, minus 1 equals 4 times 4, which is 16, minus 3 plus 2 times 4, which is 8. Now we can add everything on the left and everything on the right-hand side. 10 plus 12 minus 1. 10 plus 12 is 22. 22 minus 1 is 21. Good. So the left-hand side is 21, and if we're a little bit lucky, the right-hand side will be 21 as well. Let's see. 16 minus 3 plus 8. Well, 16 minus 3 is 13, and 13 plus 8 is, in fact, going to equal 21. So we get 21 equals 21, left side equals right side, and this is the correct answer. Takes quite a bit of work, but when m is equal to 4, we solve this equation. Let's do this one last problem, okay? So, negative 6 plus 5d plus 10 equals 4d plus 20 minus 7d. First things first, let's simplify. So negative 6 plus 10 is going to be positive 4. So I have 5d plus 4 on the left-hand side, which is equal to 4d plus 20 minus 7d. Well, here are our like terms on the right, the 4d minus 7d. 4 minus 7 is negative 3, so that's going to make negative 3d, and the plus 20 just hangs out by itself. Good. We've simplified, so our next step is going to be to bring everything with a variable to the left and everything without a variable to the right. So let's start by moving that negative 3d. The opposite operation is to, instead of subtracting 3d, adding 3d. And I need to do that to both sides. Now, negative 3d plus 3d, that's 0. So those cancel out, leaving me with the statement 5d plus 4 plus 3d is equal to 20. Great. Our next step is to take everything without a variable, meaning the 4, and move it to the right. So using opposite operations, the opposite of adding 4 is subtracting 4. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides, and that is going to cancel out these two 4s, leaving me with 5d plus 3d is equal to 20 minus 4. Great. Everything with a variable is on the left. Everything without a variable is on the right. We can collect these like terms. 5d plus 3d. 5 plus 3 is 8, so that's going to be 8d, which is equal to 20 minus 4, which is 16. Finally, in order to solve for d, we need to isolate for d, and that means getting rid of the 8. Opposite operations, the opposite of multiplying the variable by 8 is dividing by 8. And if I divide the left-hand side by 8, I divide the right-hand side by 8, and on the left, those will conveniently cancel out. This leaves me with the final answer, which is d equals, and then 16 divided by 8 is going to be 2. So, final answer, d should be equal to 2. Let's check our work to make sure that we've gotten the right answer. Now, our original equation was negative 6 plus 5d plus 10 is equal to 4d plus 20 minus 7d. What we're going to do is we're going to rewrite this, but everywhere we see a d, we're going to write a 2 instead. That's negative 6 plus 5 times 2 plus 10 is equal to 4 times 2 plus 20 minus 7 times 2. Now we need to solve both the left and the right-hand side. And when solving, we do multiplication first and addition second. So we're going to take everything that I underlined in blue, or maybe that's purple, I'm not too sure, and we're going to sort that out first. So the negative c comes on down, plus 5 times 2, which is 10, plus another 10 from that guy right there. And that is equal to 4 times 2, which is 8, plus 20 minus 7 times 2, which is going to be negative 14 as such. Great. Now we can add the left and the right-hand side. Let's start with negative 6 plus 10 plus 10. Negative 6 plus 10 is positive 4, and positive 4 plus 10 is 14. And so our left-hand side is 14. On the right-hand side, we have 8 plus 20, which is 30. Well, that's not 30 at all. Let's start over. We have 8 plus 20, which is 28. And then 28 minus 14. You might need a calculator for that, but 28 minus 14 is 14. So, fortunately, the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side, and that means that we're done. Right, that means that we have solved the problem, and the solution is that D is equal to 2. So congratulations on completing this booklet. Guys, this was a really tough one. So hopefully this all makes sense. Again, make sure you're checking in with me if you have any questions, and take some time to work on the following worksheet. Thank you.